this video tutorial, I'll be going over After Effects interface and also you could animate a simple star. So the first thing you want to do is you can go on the search option and look for After Effects. And again, remember there's a render engine and there's an actual application, After Effects 2020. You want to double click that. You also want to make sure you have a folder already on your desktop that has your name and whatever week we're on. And any images or graphics that you want to use for your project should be already in this folder. After Effects is not a standalone program like Photoshop, so it doesn't embed files, it simply points to them. So if you don't put everything in one folder for your projects, basically it's not going to keep track of your files and your files will get lost. So as soon as you open your uh, document, basically you get this pop-up window, you can just close it, and it kind of asks you if you want to go over some of the changes, and it also gives you options in terms of if you already have a project or if you want to open up a new project. So for now we don't have a project, so I'm going to go ahead and say new project. And as soon as I do that, I'm just going to click to go and save this project into the folder that I created on the desktop. I'm going to just say project 1. Make sure you put it inside the folder. And actually, I had a project from yesterday which I'm going to delete. And once I have the project, you'll see that this is the area where if I want to import photographs or video or audio, it basically will be put in this section. This is also, okay, so the first thing we want to do, we want to make a new composition. So the project, you could have only one project, but many smaller compositions within that one project. So, and these compositions are basically mini movies, like small movies. I'm going to go ahead and create a composition, and this one I'm going to just call it animated star, because that's what we're going to be doing. And the settings we want to use is 1280 by 720 at 2997 pixel, full resolution, and this is the duration of my project, which is, I don't want it to be 1 minute 20 seconds and 10 frames. So basically you want to read it from right to left. So for this one, I'm just going to change that to maybe just 20, maybe 30 seconds. And the background color is basically just whatever color you want it to be on the background. It's not really, it's just so that you can see the objects in the front better. I'm going to go ahead and say OK, and basically this is my composition. So this is again your project panel, where you would have anything that you import to After Effects will be pointed here. And remember, you want to make sure all those, if you have photographs and so on, you want to make sure to put it in the folder and import it from this folder into After Effects. And the way you do that is basically you would just do File, Import, or Command I. And this is your composition window. This is your stretched out clock. I'm going to close this a little bit. And keep it a little smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new layer. So anytime you want to add something, you basically want to make sure to choose layer. So from layer new, you could add text, you could have solids, which basically if you want to have like a box or circle, that's what you would want to use. And for now, we're just going to use a shape layer. And shape layers are kind of like Illustrator vector-based files. So I'm gonna go ahead and from this top panel, this is your home, this is your move tool, um, and this is basically the shapes or whatever you want to create. Um, and I'm gonna go ahead and click the star tool, and you'll see on the top here, when I drag this, hold the shift key and drag, you'll see that you have the fill in red and the stroke in white. So if I click on the red, I can come back and change it to another color if I wanted to. You can also change the stroke width, make it thicker or thinner by dragging on this number here, or simply clicking and changing the number. Again, once you click on the layer, you see that you want to also make sure that this circle is actually in this. I mean, it doesn't have to be in the center if your animation doesn't lend for it, but for this particular exercise, you want to make sure that it's in the center. And if I click this icon here, the pan behind, you can move this anchor to wherever you want. So I have my star. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it over here. And from this shape layer that was created, which is the star, you can see if I can turn it off and on. If I turn this open, you'll see that I have a transform drop down and I have a content drop down. Anytime you see a little arrow, that means there's other items underneath it. I'm gonna go ahead and open this one, and you'll see that I have an anchor um, option, which is that the center, basically the center of your object. You have the position, you have scale, rotation, and opacity. And these are stopwatches, which means that basically anytime you want to make an animation, you need to have at least 2 keyframes. So these stopwatches allows you to create that. Once you click it, you'll see this little diamond shaped uh, icon here. That means that's your first keyframe, and it's basically starting to record your page. So I'm going to start recording this page. So again, I'm just going to move this over here, maybe drop the opacity to, let's say, 50. And you see that it kind of got dimmed down. And this thing here basically is your stretched out clock. So it means that now if I want to make any type of movement, I'm going to move this time indicator. Let's say I'll just move it here to the 30th second. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this diamond shape here. You see that? And then you see as soon as I do that, it creates the second keyframe for me. So I'm going to create the diamond shape there, and I'm going to grab this and move it here. And I'm going to now make some other changes. Maybe I'll make it bigger. Just move it back a little bit. And you see that scale is 150% now. I've changed the position, I've changed the scale, and the rotation. This is basically the first number, the first 0 is 360 degrees, and this other one is just, you can kind of adjust the degrees. So for now, I'm going to just put this at, let's say, 15, because I want it to move really fast. And I'm going to change back the opacity to 100. Now I'm going to move my time indicator back, and if you press the tab, you'll see that you're going to get your animation moving. It's moving kind of slow because the keyframes are kind of far apart. So if you wanted it, you want the animation to move quicker, you basically can. And if you click on the tab again, your animation will stop. So if you want the animation to move faster, you can click and highlight the keyframes here and move them closer here. So now if I play this, you'll see that's going to play a lot faster. Okay, so that's that. So I'm gonna, if you click on these arrows, it basically is gonna take you to the next point of the keyframes. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how we can actually change some other attributes. So I'm going to close this transform. Maybe actually click on this little arrow to move to the second set of keyframes. I'm going to close this, open the content, open the polystar, and I'm going to change a few other things from here. So I'm going to open up polystar path, and I'm going to click on the points. So basically the first one is points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can actually animate that if you wanted to. So I'll basically put for now I'm just going to leave it at 5. Again, remember, if I want to make any type of changes, I would have to click on the actual key, make a keyframe first, and then make those changes. So I'm going to click on point, inner, outer, and also change. Well, let's just do that first, and then I'm going to move this to, let's say, the 15 seconds, and now I'm going to go and change this to, let's say, 13, and change the inner radius. Maybe, we can do, you know I'll leave that up to you how you want to do the animation. So as soon as I do that, you see that I get the second set of keyframes. So now I'm going to close this. I'm going to move this over here, let's say the 20th second. And now I'm going to open up this stroke and the fill. So for the stroke, I'm going to have the stroke, basically you have to lock it at 10. And then I'm going to grab the fill, again, make the keyframe of the pink color that I have, move the time indicator, let's say here, and now open up your stroke again and maybe change it to yellow, and maybe and then change the close the stroke, open the fill, and maybe change this to, let's say, blue. So I don't really like that yellow, so I'm gonna change it to, let's say, pink. Something like a pinky color. Okay, so now you see that, again, if I want to move to the next point, so I just want to actually move my position of my star back. So I'm going to close these panels, come back to my transform. Actually, I'm going to put all the way to the end, and I'm going to click on position and scale. I'm going to click on those two things. I'm going to move it back in the middle. I'm going to make it smaller, and maybe I'll just do rotation as well. Maybe I'll just do 10. So I'm customizing this animation. So if I do this, you'll see that the star moves. Again, it's moving a little, position is a little slow still, but, and then it kind of stops here. And then it starts based on the changes that I have done. It's going to just move the points and the colors and the stroke. And again, as you notice, I moved it back. So I'm going to do a couple of things because I feel the position is moving really, really slow. So again, if I want to customize it, use the arrow key to go to the next point. And I'm going to just move it here just so that it moves a little faster. But use these arrows to get to the next point. Otherwise, it's going to be you just keep creating keyframes. So you can drag it too if you wish, um, but the best way to just go to the next keyframe or the previous keyframe is simply to use the arrows or just drag the keyframes and move it. So you'll see now, if I play this, oops, actually, I'm going to stop this. Oops. So I'm going to move my star back here. Okay, so now it's going to play much faster. So you can customize your animation even after you've created it. Again, just make sure you click on these arrows to get to a next keyframe. That's playing a lot better. So again, at any point you can go and customize your animation. So here we have the middle part that started to change. And here, remember, we have that other position. So if I wanted to, I can simply just click on the arrow, get to the position, and move it to a new custom location. So this is how you can create a shape layer and change the transform properties for that shape. Now I'm going to show you how to export your movie. So I'm going to make sure I save it. Go to the Windows and make sure the render queue has a check mark next to it. Now, you would need to grab your animation, which is in your project panel. You want to grab it and drag it into this time panel. So you have some options here. So when I click on this, basically make sure that the resolution is at full. Gives you, so you don't need to change anything on this window. The lossless option also gives you a variety of compressing options. So for now, if I click on video codec, as you can see, there's a whole lot of settings. For this particular one, we're just going to leave it as it is, animation. I'll say OK. And yes, I'm going to say OK. So we're not changing anything in these panels. The next thing you want to do is, you see the area where it says output 2? You want to click on animated star movie and make sure to select the folder where you have your project. It has to be in that folder. You're going to go ahead and click save and then click this render button. You can see your animation moving, and this shows the progress. And when you hear that sound, means that your video is rendered. So when I come back here, just double click on the video, wait for it to convert. And choose File, Export as 720p in that same folder, and make sure you put your name on it, your name. And go to the converted and just go to same folder, and click save. So once this is saved, I'm gonna close it. You'll see that you have your video. You can edit and do all kinds of cool things with that. So that's what, so I'm gonna just delete the other one. Once you save this one with a new name, you'll see that you get basically the size is 10.6 megabytes, which is very small. And this is the original, which you could delete. The next thing you need to do is you need to go to your Flickr, and my interface is going to look a little bit different than yours. So you need to have a photo. You can have a photo of like a star, or you can actually just open this up, maybe just grab it, put it somewhere right here. And if you hold the shift command letter 4, you can actually take a photo of it, and then you can just bring that photo in that same folder. I'm going to just say snapshot. Thank you. So I'm going to go to Flickr, and you want to choose upload. You have to be in the class in order to be able to upload these things. So I'm going to grab the snapshot and the video, drag it in here, choose upload to photos, say upload. So basically I wanted to demonstrate how you can also import like an image and so on. So if you, so this video is being processed, but you can see if I click this, add to a group, then you can type in the name of the group, or actually an easier way is basically choose albums. Sorry, choose organize. Oops, organize, and just like the video tutorial that you worked on, you basically, I'm not going to wait for the video to process, but the process, you just grab, let's say, the picture and just assume this is the video, and then you want to click add to album, but here you want to choose a new album. I can just choose week 1 exercise 1 animated star, and you're going to click save, and then you have to click back on Flickr and choose your albums, and here basically is what you need to share. So the reason I opened the photo, you basically want to see, if you click it, oops, you can copy this link and import a picture into the class group, and then paste that link underneath the photograph. On your computers, you may be able to also just import the individual videos, but unfortunately I can't. My interface is different than yours, so this is the process of just the basic overview of After Effects interface and how to create an animated star and manipulating the properties settings. and the transform settings, and also how to render your video out, and how to render the video out, and how to change the size, uh, export it, and bring your video into Flickr, and then also add it to Class Group.